It's fine. Yeah, you need water, anything?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Inshallah. Yeah, we'll be with you just 10-15 minutes, inshallah.
No problem.
Jazakallah khair.
Never. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody.
Alaykum assalam.
I think Brother Abdul Majid was with us and his computer was frozen and he's coming back, hopefully, inshallah, Rabbil Alameen soon. But Sheikh Abu Yazid, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh, ya Sheikh Jamal. Hayyakum Allah.
تفضل يا أخي, you can start inshallah رب العالمين.
إن شاء الله. رب الشايف الشيخ حمد.
شيخ حمد موجود.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته أبو يزيد.
حبيبنا شيخنا كيف الحال؟ حياكم الله.
نحن نراك بقلوبنا وليس بأبصارنا.
الله يبارك فيك يا شيخنا، جزاك الله خير إن شاء الله رب العالمين. بدي أسألك، أوقف بعد آية الدين ولا أكمل آخر سورة البقرة؟ Sheikh Hamad?
I think Sheikh Hamad is frozen too. His computer or his connection is frozen. Brother Abdul Majid back. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Abdul Majid.
You're on mute.
You are on mute, Brother Abdul Majid.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam
wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Time right now is 8:30. Maybe 8:31, 8:32 due to some problems. So this halqa will stop right at the dot, 9:30. And Auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Today is Thursday, the 4th of Muharram, 1443, the 12th of August, 2021. With the permission of all shaykhs, my respected brothers and sisters, welcome to our halqa. I have the honor and privilege to introduce today's halqa number 507. Our honored speaker tonight is, of course, he's filling in for the sister session, but I think we are privileged to have a man instead of the sisters, thing. His name is Madap.
We don't discriminate.
All right, yeah, I understand that. Thank you so much. His name is Madap Sharma. He's from UMR. And, UMR stands for the Unaccompanied Refugees itself. So actually his topic will be, the helping the orphans in that direction itself. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for coming to the halqa, Mr. Madap Sharma. May Allah bless you and your parents for that, please. Our honor recited tonight is Imam Abu Yazid, our teacher, our Murabbi. The guy who taught us tajweed, enunciation and pronunciation. Jazakallah khair. He's appearing for the 54th time tonight. He'll be doing the Juz third and Surah 2. And the ayah will be 275 onwards. May Allah bless you, Imam Abu Yazid, for your contribution.
You too, Brother Abdul Majid. Jazakallah khair.
Especially your mom. May Allah bless her too. And Allah grant her the highest place in Jannah, please.
Inshallah, inshallah.
Our honored guest for the translation is my Imam, Hamid Shibli. He's appearing for 240th time. And, it's a momentous achievement by my Imam. He answers questions. He does tafsir, he does summary, he does everything. So, Jazakallah khair, mashallah. I think, may Allah bless you, my Imam, for your service to the halqa. May bless your parents also on top of that. As you got the timeline goes, so we have 15, 30, and 15-minute time slot itself. The very 15-minute time slot is recitation of the Holy Quran, followed by the translation. And tonight, our guest speaker will be having 30-minute time slot for himself. And then after that, the 15-minute time slot is for question and answer. And then we have a dua and closure at the end. And my request to anybody who asking question, please just ask very short questions. You get the short answer itself, and we can utilize our time more effectively itself. May Allah bless everybody coming to this halqa itself. And mashallah, I think, we are very proud of this gathering and very regular gathering that we get that. So the floor belongs to Imam Jamal Shibli, please. Jazakallah khair.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
تفضل شيخ أبو يزيد. What was your question to Imam Hamad?
أمام شيخنا شيخ حمد. You want me to stop بعد عند آية الدين بعد ما أقرأ الآية ولا أكمل الصورة؟
لا إن شاء الله نقف على الآيتين، لأنه الثلاث آيات الأخيرة لها سيشن خاص بالدعاء، وندعو الله أن يتقبل الدعاء غدا إن شاء الله تعالى.
طيب جزاك الله خير إن شاء الله. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين إلى أجل مسمى فاكتبوه وليكتب بينكم كاتب بالعدل ولا يأب كاتب أن يكتب كما علمه الله فليكتب وليملل الذي عليه الحق وليتق الله ربه ولا يبخس منه شيئا فإن كان الذي عليه الحق سفيها أو ضعيفا أو لا يستطيع أن يمل هو فليملل وليه بالعدل واستشهدوا شهيدين من رجالكم فإن لم يكونا رجلين فرجل وامرأتان ممن ترضون من الشهداء أن تضل إحداهما فتذكر إحداهما الأخرى ولا يأبى الشهداء إذا ما دعوا ولا تسأموا أن تكتبوه صغيرا أو كبيرا إلى أجله ذلكم أقسط عند الله وأقوم للشهادة وأدنى ألا ترتابوا إلا أن تكون تجارة حاضرة تديرونها بينكم فليس عليكم جناح ألا تكتبوها وأشهدوا إذا تبايعتم ولا يضار كاتب ولا شهيد وإن تفعلوا فإنه فسوق بكم واتقوا الله ويعلمكم الله والله بكل شيء عليم وإن كنتم على سفر ولم تجدوا كاتبا فرهان مقبوضة فإن أمن بعضكم بعضا فليؤدي الذي اؤتمن أمانته وليتق الله ربه ولا تكتموا الشهادة ومن يكتمها فإنه آثم قلبه والله بما تعملون عليم صدق الله العظيم.
جزاك الله خير شيخ أبو يزيد. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you.
إن شاء الله جزاك الله خير.
تفضل شيخ حمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن سار على هديه إلى يوم الدين وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. My dear respected brothers and sisters in Islam, our dear beloved Imam, our nephew Ahmad, allowed me to greet all of you, and I like to add to the audience the two individuals sitting with the Imam here in the office, brothers and sisters, they came to meet the Imam. I will let them introduce themselves to you if they wish, not now. They came for to meet the Imam, to talk to the Imam about something very important. Every single brother and sister, they wish to be in their position, but I'm not going to release the news now. Allow me to greet all of you Islamic greeting and say to all of you, include my guests, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I did appreciate what our brother Imam Abu Yazid Jazallah Khair just recite 2 verses from the entire surah of Surah Al-Baqarah. But those 2 verses must be studied, not by the Imam, not by the Sheikh, not by the Imam who leads Salat al-Taraweeh in Ramadan, memorize the whole Quran Kareem. Not with the person have a small turban or big turban, but those 2 verses must be studied and memorized and know all the ahkam of fiqh about it for the business of people. And I don't want to pick up any name from the Zoom to know, mashallah, so and so is a great businessman, mashallah, he run his business. But tonight, intentionally, I want all the business brothers and sisters who deal with contract, who deal with loan, who deal with something to put it on behalf of the loan. If you are not able to pay the loan, in Arabic we call it rahan, which means deposit, to get what you think back, to study those verses, because running a business from halal side, you don't know the rule and the regulation, it will be our mistake as a Muslim in this country and other country, inshallah. In the beginning of the 2 verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addressing only the believer. He's not addressing any other, what you call it, a part of the human being. And Allah started the verse by saying, Ya ayyuhal ladina aman. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called the believer, maybe the other people must listen. But when Allah talked to the believer said, oh Allah, I am here, I am listening, and I'm going to obey you. What Allah ordered the believer to do in those verses, 3 things. Number 1, if you like to take a loan, in Arabic we call it ad-dayn. There are many things have to be done in the loan Islamically, and we will maybe touch a little bit legally. Number 1, you have to write down, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا تداينتم بدين إلى أجل مسمى فاكتبوه. How many rights of a human being, we cannot, prove it. He get the loan from him. He is a Muslim, she is a Muslimah, they are Muslimin. Without writing, you are not practicing what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us to do. With the loan, my dear brothers and sisters, we need katib wa adl. We need an attorney. We need a lawyer. We need a person to put this document legally and Islamically. And besides that, we need at least 2 witnesses. I will come to that, inshallah ta'ala. But who is the person who will start writing the loan, say what he like to get, how much he get, is the one, which means we know he is not, he is the one asking for, not the giver. But I will say the taker. The taker must say, I took this, I documented, I write it down, and I have certain time to pay it to the person who give us a loan. Looks like the one who will be received, not the one who will be giver, according to what I know, inshallah ta'ala. But in those verses, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Allah repeated the word taqwa. He repeated the word taqwa, to be mindful of Allah, to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when you write, and I will come to the word to say, we have to have a witnesses. And the word witnesses in any loan, it can be 2 men, and I don't want all the sisters, include the sister sitting with us, to jump on my shoulder and say, Imam, how Allah did to ask 2 men or 1 man and 2 women? Why 2 women? Because Allah clarified it. Sometimes we forget, and we need somebody to remind us. And let me ask the brother and the sister who like to not to accept this word to say, can you live one day in the year 2021 away from your cell phone to remind you with all the schedule which we have it? And our kids, they try to blame us to say, Dad, how did you live all your life without cell phone, without internet, and without all this technology, only to remind us? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to us, when you have this contract, please write it down, document it, have two witnesses, sign it, keep one copy with you, one copy with the other, and inshallah ta'ala you will be okay for that. But the trade we deal it with every day, tijara, there is no need to write it. You buy and you sell on the floor, but you have to be fair and don't to increase the prices as much as you would. Try to be fair between the buyer and the seller. Other item in those verses, we can say a person like to have a loan, but maybe he like to put some trust before he get the loan. That in Arabic we call it rahan. And the rahan, it is jaiz in Islam to put something with the giver, to tell him when I return the money, you will give me what I trust you with it, and he will return it. And that is a part of the Islam too. And the last one is when you are traveling from one city to the other city, and you don't find a rahan to be given to the person, try to have witnesses for that, and that will be accepted, inshallah ta'ala. My advice before I close to every businessman and every businesswoman in a small business or big business, try to study those two verses from Surah Al-Baqarah, and subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar wa lillahi alhamd. This verse is talking about loan. It is the longest verses in the Quran Kareem. And according to the Quran, we have the copy in our hand, printed in Saudi Arabia, in King Fahad. We call it, Mujamma. That verse took 1 page, which means 15 lines. And that is the most important, looks like a verse for the business people to study it, to run it, and to understand it. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we run any business, to be aware what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran Kareem. Before, inshallah ta'ala, I greet you with assalamu alaikum, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward all of you. Let me turn the microphone and the camera toward my guests, because I have a mask, they have a mask. They will say assalamu alaikum to you if they wish. Do you like to greet them? Say no. They said yes, they are going to greet you, inshallah ta'ala. And I believe some of us, we know them, we know their family. Greet you, then we'll give the floor to Imam Jamal Shibli, inshallah ta'ala. These are the two guests in front of you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nazia. Assalamu alaikum.
My name is Zahir. Assalamu alaikum.
Why you are here?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We're here to get married.
Yes. Yes.
Inshallah.
Make a dua for them, inshallah. Their marriage on the 20th of this month, inshallah ta'ala.
Inshallah,
Congratulations.
Rabbil Alamin. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for you.
Thank you.
Ameen.
Ameen.
Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And the microphone belongs to Imam Jamal.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah Sheikh Hamad for reminding us how to deal in business or alone with each other. Sometimes if we ask some family member even for a loan, and he said, okay, can you sign this paper for me? We said, oh, you don't trust me? You want me to sign the paper for you? No, if we don't do it according to the Quran and the Sunnah, the matter is not the matter of the trust. The matter is to keep the right of the person who give the loan. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. And maybe this, as Imam Hamad suggests, inshallah Rabbil Alameen, we can invite somebody who specializes in law to talk about how we can understand this ayah and how we can deal with it, inshallah Rabbil Alameen. And maybe if we have some attorney, he or she can draft a contract for a family or friend loans or sadaqah jariyah, as we said, but we have to sign it, inshallah, Rabbil Alameen. I will not take more time, inshallah, Rabbil Alameen. I will turn the microphone to our guest, brother Madap. Sharma, welcome to our Halaqah. And this is Halaqah over 500. I believe 507 or 506. And welcome, and the floor is yours. You can unmute yourself and start your topic, please.
Actually, would you like to introduce yourself instead of me reading that?
Sure.
I'm going to put the your link, your TED link in the comments also.
Oh, sure. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everybody. My name is Madap Sharma. I come from a country that is known to the world as the land of happiness, country that propounded the concept of gross national happiness as GNH. I come from Bhutan. I don't know how many of you know about Bhutan. It's a tiny country between China and India. Currently, I work for Bethany Christian Services. My journey to the United States and my journey to work in this profession as a resource developer for assisting children, unaccompanied refugee minors, and refugees is very unique. I have been a refugee myself. I was uprooted from my country of origin at a very young age. And for the next 20 years, I lived under United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, or UNHCR. I did not have a home or an address. I struggled hard. And after 20 years of struggle, 8 different Western countries resettled about 100,000 of our people, and I was one among them. So today, as I'm serving refugee minors from diverse countries, cultures, ethnic, faith backgrounds, I see my own life's journey in theirs. Generally, when people ask me, where are you from or who are you? This is how I say, I come from a Buddhist country, born to a Hindu family, studied in a missionary school under the British system, lived majority of my life in a Muslim state of Hyderabad in India. Currently, I'm working for a Christian organization living in a secular country. Each day, I serve children from every background, and I'm so happy that I'm living my dream through these children, serving these children. That is a short background about me. And every child that comes into the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania through the refugee program comes through my decision. Like I make a decision. I read the biodata of these children each evening. After I tuck my little boy to sleep, I come down to the office, I read the biodata, and I match a child to a family here in Pennsylvania. So there is a dire need of loving, caring homes, our support in cash, in kind, donation to volunteerism, mentorship, because these children deserve to be loved and cared. They are refugees not because of their fault. They are refugees because they practice a different faith. They come from a particular culture or religious background or political affiliation. All right, that is a little introduction about myself. I want to specifically thank Sister Noor for inviting me for this opportunity. I don't know how much time I have because I generally do this, URM program is, I present for about 2 hours and there is a half hour of QA session, but I understand it is for 15 minutes, is that right?
It's so we're total till 9:30.
Okay.
With the Q&A.
Okay.
And everyone, next week, we also have someone else, Peter, because Madap cannot be here next week as well. So another person from Bethany will be here to talk to us to continue on this conversation.
Sure.
By the way, my husband's from Hyderabad.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. So I want to give you a very brief introduction about who refugees are. I'm sure most of you, all of you know about refugees. The world is flooded with refugees. As we speak, by the end of 2020, 82.4 million people were forcibly displaced worldwide as a result of persecution, conflict, violence, or human rights violations. 82.4 million people. Of those people, 26.4 million are refugees. Refugees are men, women, and children who flee their country of origin because of persecution or because of fear of persecution, and that they do not have the safety or the ability to go back to their country of origin. To give you a perspective, in my own case, my father is 103 years. He lives with me. My father was 75 years when he could not belong to the country he was born in. And at 75, he had to leave the country with all of us. So after 30 years, we are still unable to go back to our country. On my father's 100th birthday, we gave him a surprise. We gave him a gift. I connected with a friend, and then we showed him through a video, the property that he had hard earned, the mango groves, the orange orchards, and all that, although our home was already demolished. So that is the background. And of these 26.4 million refugees, more than half of them are children under 18. So can you just imagine the massive human footprint that is around the world, who is deprived of education, who is deprived of good food or love and care and a good home to live in? That is the background. And in that background, United States has been the moral leader of the world in supporting, in assisting refugees. And Bethany Christian Services has started its program in 1976, the Refugee Program in 1976, with the advent of the first refugees from Vietnam in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Currently, we are spread all over the world. We are spread in 5 continents. We have over 100 offices in 40 states and in all 5 continents. The Greater Delaware Valley office, the Pennsylvania office, began in 1980. We run several programs. Today, I'll be briefly talking only about 3 programs, that is the Adult Refugee Resettlement, in which we serve men, women, and children who are refugees living in a foreign country and who are looking forward to living the American dream. These are men, women, and children who cannot go back to their country of origin, like myself. These are, families uprooted from their homes, from their cultures, from their religions, and we need to provide them love and care. Oftentimes, people ask me, Madap, how can I help a refugee family? And I tell them, you may give a piece of furniture or some clothes or some money, but over time they are able to have that, possess that themselves. But please give them a non-judgmental friendship, love. Welcome them as who they are. They may practice a different religion or a different faith. They may not speak English the American way, but they come here not as tourists. They are not here to enhance their skills. They are here because their home is dangerous. They have left their home. That's why we have to show them love and care. And I tell you, these men and women and children, the refugees, have enriched our world. They are wonderful. Albert Einstein was a refugee. Madeleine Albright was a refugee. So when a refugee comes into our country, they don't just come with a bundle of baggage. They come with the power and the promise to belong to a nation and to give back to our country. So unaccompanied refugee minors, let me just explain the terminology. Unaccompanied means these children are separated forcefully from their biological parents because of war, persecution, abandonment, neglect, and all those fears. So they do not have a legal guardian or a biological family to care for them, therefore unaccompanied. Refugee is a person who has fled persecution, who has fled their country of origin because there is danger in their country and they cannot go back to their country, therefore they are refugees. and minors, they are under 18. So unaccompanied refugee minors are those young boys and girls who have fled their country because of war or persecution or because of ethnic or religious or cultural violence in their country, and who cannot go back to their country, nor do they have anybody to care for them. They are under the care of United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, or UNHCR. To give you a perspective, the refugees from the Democratic Republic of Congo are now refugees in Uganda. And we, Bethany, we connect with these organizations in Uganda, and then we bring these children to our program. We match these children to a family, and we care for them, for their education, for their food, for their safety, for their medical, and for their future. We prepare them for their future until they are 21 years of age. These children cannot go back to their country of origin. These children will be here. They are here to live with us and to be one among us. There are Muslims, there are Christians, there are Hindus, there are Buddhists, there are atheists, there are children of all faith and religious backgrounds, and we serve them equally. For us, children is a priority. And these children do not speak English as their first language. They speak multiple other languages. Like I speak 5 languages with proficiency. So in our program, in the URM program, we have staff from all over the world. We have children from different countries. So we are like a sort of mini United Nations. And Bethany runs these programs through federal and state fund, but largely we depend on the local community for donations. These are men, young boys and girls who come from hard places, from distress, and they need our support. Now, to give you a brief idea, I have so many examples about who, I would tell you so many stories about our children, but for want of time, I'll just share with you 1 or 2 stories. I was, on April 6th of 2020, I connected with one of our youth who emancipated from our program. He comes from Somalia. He was a young boy. He was 13 years when I picked him up on a January night. I read his biodata. I was so moved by his story. And so on April 16th, 2020, in the midst of the pandemic, I called him to check how he's doing. Although he left our program after turning 21, but I just called him to see how he's doing. And he told me, Madap, I have been quarantined all my life. Since the age of 6, when I lost my parents and I became an orphan, until now, I don't have anybody to look upon. I don't have a family. Only you are the one who sometimes calls on me and checks on me. So COVID or no COVID, I am just quarantined all my life. And I told him, brother, I am there for you. My wife and I, oftentimes we cook food for these children and we invite them, and we serve them. So after we hung the phone, I thought, we complain that we are not able to meet our people. We are not able to hang out at the restaurant, or we are not able to, socialize. Here is a refugee child who lost his parents at age 6. And he has nobody in the world. Still, he's surviving. He is happy. I think I want to invite everyone. Let us leave a cup of coffee and then unite to support these young boys and girls. They have need for education, for different purposes, which I'll be laying out in a minute. So these children currently in Bethany's care, we have about 76, 77 children. They come from all over the world. If you think of any country, let's think Africa. They come from Nigeria, from Benin Republic, from Eritrea, from Ethiopia, from Central African Republic, from the Congo, from Tanzania, from Uganda. They come from all over. From Middle East, they come from Iran, they come from Iraq, they come from Syria, from Asia, they come from Bhutan, from Bangladesh, from Sri Lanka, from Afghanistan, from Pakistan. They come from all over the world. And currently, the greatest need, my sisters and brothers, is the children who we serve from the Rohingya community in Myanmar. I'm sure you're familiar with the Rohingya situation. It is a very, very difficult situation. And I am very close to that part of the world. So I know the situation, what it means to be a refugee, to flee one's home. We have so many children who have suffered such a huge trauma and loss and separation and PTSD that it is so hard for us to support them. We need local communities like yourselves. You know, we have these Rohingya children. We recently organized a lunch program for these children, and some of them said, this is the first time after 5 years I have eaten a Rohingya meal. You know, we could see the big smile on their faces when they had those Rohingya meal, you know, something that connects them so close to home. Their families, some of their families are still in refugee camps in Bangladesh. They are here in school. The families expect these children to support them with money, but these children don't have the ability to work. They don't have the, you know, they don't have English fluency. So they go to school, and then Bethany provides them support, financial support and care. And therefore we have to teach them life skills like driving, budgeting, job processing, and all those things so that they can be independent at 21 years of age. Okay, these children generally come between the ages of 13 and 17. And although there are younger children also, there is sibling groups, like there could be a 16-year-old brother and an 80-year-old sister. To give you just one quick example, which I'm just reminded, this is a sibling group from Rohingya community from Myanmar. Brother was 13 and the sister was 8 when they jumped into a boat that was already overcrowded. And they came, but in the journey in the boat, the sister was actually abused by men who were in the boat in front of her brother. Those children we are currently serving. The son, the older one, is so smart. He's at Swarthmore College on full scholarship in computer engineering. And the sister, she is still struggling with trauma. She is 16 now. We need people who support, to support her, to just be someone to be non-judgmental, to provide her support and care, just to speak with her. There is a girl I brought last year in the midst of the pandemic from Afghanistan. She was, when I read her biodata, I was just in tears. She had no formal education, and she was married to somebody who was her father's age. So she wanted to run away from that situation. She was abused. When I saw the background, I said, we must help this girl. We utilized all our support system to bring her even during the pandemic. Today, she wants to become a medical doctor. She wants to become a surgeon. She is in Coatesville, Pennsylvania, near Lancaster. And we need somebody to support her, you know, just to be friends with her, somebody who can walk her through this journey. You know, although she's in a loving and a caring home, that's a Christian home. And somebody, maybe a sister who is educated in the American system, who could just speak with her, provide her care. Those are some of the things that we really, really need. Now, I will come to what are the kind of needs that we have? How can we as a community support these young boys and girls? As I said earlier, you can give anything, a piece of furniture, a piece of cloth, a big smile. But if you welcome them with an open heart, with a non-judgmental heart, I think that is the greatest gift you would give to a refugee child. The first thing you could support is if you have a space, an extra space, if you want to welcome and give the gift of a family to this precious child that has lost his or her parents. As a resource parent, if you want to be a foster family, that would be the greatest gift for these children. Trust me, these children bring so much of joy. They are such wonderful, wonderful young boys and girls. So if you live in Pennsylvania, if you have the ability to welcome a refugee child, I can actually walk you through the entire process. I am one of the trainers to train trauma-informed parents to become resource parents for our refugee children. That is the biggest need today, because of those thousands of children waiting in the refugee camps, only a few lucky ones are selected. And life of a refugee is like dry leaves carried away by a gush of wind. You don't know where your life is taken, who picks you up, where you land, who is your foster parent, how that is going to change your life is just so unknown. But they believe in God, they worship, they pray, we all pray, and we hope for the best for these children. So foster home is one first need for our children. The second need, if you are not able to welcome a child into your home, to give the gift of your family to that child, there are so many other ways. You can serve as a mentor. By mentorship, as I said earlier, you can just be a friend of a refugee child, say the one that comes from Afghanistan, or the one that comes from the Rohingya community in Myanmar, or one from Benin Republic. You can just serve as a mentor if you have any specialization, if you are a medical doctor, or if you are a banker, if you are a professor. You can support them on a monthly basis. You can meet via Zoom, or you can meet in person in a public place, like in a library, and support them, help them integrate into the American system. These young boys and girls have a very surreal idea about America. I must tell you, when they land in the land of the United States, they feel that they can become rich overnight. Roads are gilded, everybody's rich, you can pluck money on trees. Those are the kind of unrealistic expectations of these children. So it's really important for us as mentors to teach them to bridge the gap between the rhetoric and the reality. That is the second thing, mentorship. It's huge. The third thing that you can help, because these children do not speak English as their first language, we want to teach them English as a second language. At the same time, we want to help them preserve and protect their identities. Because, for example, if a Rohingya youth is forced to go to a church, it's painful. They have left their country, the Buddhist country, Myanmar, because they are not allowed to practice the Islamic faith in their country. After traveling such a dangerous journey to the United States, if they cannot pray 5 times a day, if they do not have a Quran for them, if they do not have a prayer mat, if they are isolated and if they feel separate, scrutinized, it's really, there's no reason why they should have come here. That's why we, I think, as a community should come up to join our hands to support these young children to practice their faith, to preserve their identity, and at the same time help them to integrate into the American system. For that, those of you who have some free time on a monthly basis, and we have children so intelligent, they know where the masjid is, where they can go and pray, they know how to pray online, and we provide them as much as possible all these supports, like we provide them with Quran or with the Bible or with the Bhagavad Gita or whatever religion they practice. But if somebody is a practicing Muslim or a practicing Christian who can actually support them, that's really very helpful. So that's our third need, ESL support. And this ESL support can be given through Zoom or in person. We are in need of laptops, computers. We are in need of books, picture dictionaries, translated works that can support, or even cultural stuff. Like I do the cultural humility training for our families before they are certified. Just earlier today, I was teaching them, and I was telling them, Muslim youth in our program do not eat pork. They eat halal meat. And many of the families were saying, oh gosh, what is halal meat? So these are some of the things that we have to teach them. So, that sort of cultural knowledge exchange will also be very helpful for these children. It'll also be helpful if we find somebody who can teach them life skills, language skills. By life skills, I mean, children are confused completely. Like, I came into the United States, my sisters and brothers, as an adult. I was teaching at a university before I came to the United States. For the first 2 months, I was completely at loss. I didn't know what I was doing. I thought my life was of no value. My educational transcripts did not transfer to the American system. People would ask me, oh gosh, you speak good English. How did you learn English? When did you come to America? How could I tell everyone who asks me that question that I had exchanged food for books? I had lived my 20 years of my life without a permanent home address. I lived as a second-class citizen. And that was how I pursued my university education, and I became a professor. It took me 2 years to understand my self-worth, and then started continuing helping the children that I'm serving today. So for these young boys and girls, they don't have family, they're broken completely. And what a child doesn't receive in childhood, she or he can seldom later give. We cannot expect a child to be respectful, to know the culture, if they have not grown up in that culture, or if they have never received love and care in childhood. And as Maya Angelou, one of the greatest poets, says, there is no agony like bearing an untold story inside of you. These children come with an invisible suitcase. They come with trauma, with problems. And once they are in your home, then they start expressing those traumas. And that is, as a community, I think it is really helpful for us to help them grow as a child. The next thing that we could help after ESL and life skills teaching is, if you have an extra room, if you can rent that room for this refugee youth after they turn 18, they have to move out from their foster home to an independent home. And as soon as people hear about refugee, especially a Muslim refugee, a Black Muslim refugee, gosh, period. Property managers don't provide an apartment. I help with these children on this. This is so difficult. If you live in Philadelphia, if you have an extra room, extra space to rent for a refugee child, that will be one of the biggest helps for us. Because these children, their goal is emancipation. Their goal is not to reunify with their family. So they have to emancipate from the program and be independent. And the last way you can support is through donations. And when I talk of donations, it doesn't have to be a big amount. It can be $1, a piece of scarf, a prayer mat, a Quran, a donation of your service to teach them driving skills. Or if you have a company, if you run a factory or a company, you have some entry-level jobs for these children, somebody has to trust them. Otherwise, how can they integrate into the American system? So that is the, small, in a nutshell, I was able to tell you those needs. So these children have been abused, neglected, or abandoned, and they need a place to call home. They need and deserve to be loved and cared for. Will you be the one to help? Thank you very much. I end on that note. I will put my email ID and my phone number there, and I will leave the rest of the time for QA. You have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
And I will go first because I also put, to let everyone know, I put his bio on the chat session, so please go out over there. There's also a link above that and within to his TEDx talk, so you can get to know him a little bit more. And what Bethany does, we have a 2 families that came through Bethany, living near where I live, and Zubaida Foundation, and it's been a heck of a 5-year stretch because we got them about 2 months apart. Thank you, Bethany. They said, oh, don't worry, the first family, they'll be here in like 6 months. And about 2 weeks after we got the first call, we got the second call saying they'll be here in 2 weeks. So yes, sometimes timelines don't mean a thing. And then a month and a half later, we got another call 1 week before Trump was inaugurated, and they are here. They need a lot. We have some of this stuff already set up. So Madap, please, we need to call. One person loves to give driving lessons for free. We have several people who do ESL, some previous ESL speakers. I will also say from Zubaida and the Imam Shablis, you can see 2 of them online. There are 3 Imam Shablis in the area. If you don't know, they are brothers. They're all in this area, and between them and me talking for Zubaida, we will get the prayer rugs and the Qur'ans that you need. And tell us what language, if they don't want it in Arabic or don't want only in Arabic. And yes, I'll talk to you more because I have some other ideas.
Sure.
And the next one was Abdul Majid, brother.
Yeah, I yield my time to Sister Kathy.
Sister Kathy, please unmute yourself and talk to us.
Hello?
Hello.
Yes. I have a Quran and I have a prayer map, and I also have some clothes, and I also have haram meat I would like to donate.
Oh, Carol, thank you so much.
If that can be helpful.
Sure.
Okay, how do I go about to give these things?
So what I will do is I will connect with perhaps maybe Sister Noor, and I will connect her with our case manager. So this is how it works. Each child is assigned to a case manager. They are the direct contacts for anything and everything that goes in the life of that child for the next several years until they turn 21. So they need a prayer mat, they like to go to a particular masjid to pray, or anything, it is the case manager that helps with them. So I will connect with the case managers of those children who follow the Islamic faith, and then they will be in touch with you to make arrangement of that.
Would you like to give me my phone number and they can contact me, or, you know?
Sure, that can be done as well.
Okay.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let us make our contact person with the organization Sister Noor. If we have to do anything, everybody go back to Sister Noor, and Sister Noor will be our liaison with the organization and with Brother Madap for anything they need. They can contact Sister Noor, and Sister Noor will bring it to us, and we'll see what we can do about it.
Thank you so much.
The easiest way, instead of everybody calling everybody. So right. Sister Noor is the liaison between our group and our family here and the organization. And hopefully, Brother Madap, we can help you as much as we can. Not help you, actually, we are helping ourselves, because whatever we give for ourselves, not for others. And this is what we believe as a Muslim, to help the orphan. And our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, me and the one who sponsored orphan in the Jannah like this. So we would like to be in his company, and we would like to help the orphan or the refugee. Anyone who missed his parents, even they're still alive, or they are not exist around him to help him or her, they are orphaned, and we consider that, and we'll take care of it whatever we can help, even to teach. I am ready, as Sister Noor said, the Shibli, I am one of them. I am professionally working in a prison system, and I know how to deal with the drama, you know, somehow, somewhere. If we have a group of people, they gather together, let us put a time frame together. We can teach them even in person, or wherever you are in Pennsylvania, I can drive. I have no problem with that. Or on Zoom, also we can help as much as we can. Quran, you know, and the other stuff, inshallah Rabbil Alameen, will try to help, even donation. Also will try to organize something, especially one day for this organization, for the orphan, and we'll take care of it as much as we can.
I just wanted, thank you. I just wanted to add one thing, that I am working in very close collaboration with the Islamic Community Center of Lancaster. The president of ICCL has been so helpful. Like during the pandemic, he was able to organize, he was able to send via Zoom a very distinguished speaker, professor from Canada, and we brought all the children together, and then he talked about trauma and all these things. So, and they have donated, you know, used cars. They have supported us in our programs like picnics and all these things. So ICCL has been so helpful to support our children in the program. So I just wanted to mention that here.
Thank you very much. I was Imam in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So I know the people in the area. We can organize something. If you are located in Lancaster, we can organize something there. But if you need anything on Zoom, any classes, any teaching, let us know. We are here to help, and we can put a you know, time frame for anything you need from us. Second thing, you know, you touch our heart. I came from Lebanon, where we have the thank God I was not a refugee, but we saw refugees. We live with the refugees. The Palestinians, they were around us in our area, in our hometown. When you live in a civil war, you are refugees because you are out of your house, even you still in the same country, but you move from house to house. As you said, your condition was 20 years out of a home.
This is talking about people who,
so we can,
children who need help.
We can help, and because we live that life.
Right.
Maybe somebody have, and they are blessed. God has not tested them with anything like this, but we were tested, and I feel the way you are talking, as if I am there. I see the people. I see their feeling. I feel what they went through. So inshallah, we'll try to help as much as we can. With this, I think Ahmed raised hand.
Yeah, he wants to know about your parents. I told him your father was living with you.
Yes, my parents live with me. My father is 103 years. And actually, when I gave the TED talk, he was, I think, 98. I have even shown the picture of my dad in the TED talk. But, 20 years of refugee life in less than 20 minutes was quite a summary to make. So,
yes.
But yeah, my mom lives with me as well. She's in her early 90s.
May God bless them. And inshallah, we are going to invite you again for another session, maybe in different way. Maybe you can introduce us more to your organization, what we can help, and how we can work together in the future.
Sure.
And a co-worker of his is coming next week also.
Oh?
Peter, a co-worker of his.
Peter will be joining.
Okay. Thank you, Sister Noor, and we'll see you next week then, both of you. With this, because we are almost 9:30, we have to close with a dua. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. Oh Allah, we ask you to give us the good of this dunya, of this life, and the good of the hereafter. We ask you to be with us. We ask you to help others. We ask you to make us as a servant for you first and to serve other humanity. We ask you, oh Allah, to be with us in our life and to have a mercy on us and everybody. With this, my dear brother and sister, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our gathering and reward you, brother Madap, for your help. As our Prophet said, the most beloved one to God is the one who helps his creation. So you are helping the creation. May God be pleased with you. And finally, we finish with Surah Al-Asr. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. And as always and always and always our love to Ahmed. We love you and we take care of you and may
Ahmed
Allah
comes
bless you
on.
all. Assalamu
Ahmed
alaikum
comes
wa
on and
rahmatullahi
he
wa barakatuh.